Hey everyone, it's Pearlescent Toys back in today's video with another Marvel Legends action figure review, and today we're looking at the X-Men, Rogue, and Destiny 2-pack. Here's a look at the side art and the back of the box, which has a bio. A mutant with power she could not yet control, Rogue was unofficially adopted by Destiny and Mystique and joined them in the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Alright, but without further ado, let's get into the review. Let's take a look at the sculpt and the paint apps for Rogue first. Right off the bat, it's just important to note that it is reusing the Shriek legs, the Shriek arms, so there really isn't all too much new except for like the torso and of course the head sculpt, but I'll quickly go over the legs. It has some lighter green paint apps, and I gotta say they were applied pretty crisply. Is that a word? The paint apps are very crisp, you know, there isn't a whole lot of issues there. Yeah, not much else to say. Moving up, again, Shriek legs. I love the musculature of them though. We move up to the torso. Hasbro have been trying to get like non-articulated torsos into their line recently. There's that Luke Cage figure, Jean Grey, and every single time they do, it is not received positively. The sculpt looks great without any cuts in it. But if we wanted a figure with no cuts, we would have gotten a statue instead. It just feels very counterintuitive for this line. Nonetheless though, it looks great. Love the tiny wrinkles right here on the side and on the back. The line going up the middle and around the bottom. Sculpted, it is raised up, painted very nicely too. And it all comes up to the hoodie right here, which is also sculpted separately. I love the folds right there. And moving on, looks great. Would have loved some more articulation though. Arms, again, Shriek mold. You have these new little cuff pieces for her gloves. There is a line separating these two greens, which is very cool. It gives it depth. And now moving up to the head sculpt. I've said this probably a billion times on this channel. Hasbro just on top of the game when it comes to head sculpts. Kind of wish the white on top of the hair would have been caked on a little thicker because you could see some of that brown plastic poking through. But that face, oh, it's striking. I love that expression. It gives off this appearance of being evil, which is like very fitting for this character since that's how like she debuted. For accessories, she comes with 2 fisted hands and 2 open hands. And that's it. Awful. Not even like a gloveless hand. That's just some dirty work, Hasbro. For articulation, Rogue is able to move her head up, not at all, and look down just like the tiniest bit. She does have a really good amount of pivot and some side-to-side movement. Her arm is able to move this far up, and she has upper bicep swivel, a double jointed elbow that's able to bend in this much, and your standard wrist hinge allowing her hand to move up, down, and all the way around. With her lower diaphragm joint, she's able to bend this far back, and not really at all forward. A tiny bit of pivot in the waist, as well as some side-to-side movement. She's able to kick her leg up this much, go out to the side that much, and go back a tiny bit. Upper thigh swivel, a double jointed knee that's able to bend back this much, and her foot is able to move this far down, this far up, and she has some... Alright, now on to the size comparisons. Here is Rogue next to Secret Wars, Captain America, and Iron Man, Spider-Man and Wolverine, Colossus and Storm, Nightcrawler and Baby Nightcrawler, VHS Cell Shaded and Walgreens exclusive Mystiques, Jim Lee Rogue and Love Triangle 3-pack Magneto, Deadpool and Hydra Bob, Deadpool and Hydra Bob, Darwin and Morbius, Stan Lee and Squirrel Girl, and finally Jeff the Landshark and Spider Ham. Irene Adler here is also reusing parts from the Shriek body with those arms and legs, and maybe the lower torso as well. Let's take a look at those legs. There really isn't much to discuss here. It is just all molded in a blue plastic from the feet to the shins, all the way up to the knees. It's not until you get up to the upper legs where you get some variation to it. She has that leotard on, so you're able to see her thighs right here. Again, love that Shriek body mold. They definitely do those thighs justice. It loses me with the painted skin tone. On camera, it's not so bad, but in person, like, it just looks awful. Painting that on top of the blue plastic, it does not work. It just looks cheap. I just don't like the look of it. Yeah, so that's just a huge bummer. And then we get to the torso again. Shriek down here For the chest, I'm not going to be gross. No, I love this sculpt so much. It is so spot on to her early design. And it is molded in that skin tone plastic instead of the blue. Now, all this blue is painted on. It looks amazing. The blue matches up with the plastic perfectly. This is a brand new piece. The costume part is raised from the skin. You can see like her skin right here on her back. What's really unfortunate though is that this cape is not removable. That said, it looks fantastic. Like, oh my God, it looks so gorgeous. Look at the blue shading on the back in between those wrinkles. I love the way the cape droops over the shoulders too. The arms, shriek mold, nothing really of note there. One way to easily win me over for any action figure is metallic paint, especially gold, and they perfected it here. Look how amazing it looks. I love the darker gold that's like spruced up all throughout the mask. Man, that looks so good. Love this giant cone head. For accessories, she comes with 2 open hands and 2 fisted hands, and that's it. You get what you get and you don't throw a fit, says Hasbro. Not even an unmasked head? Come on, dude. For articulation, Destiny is able to move her head this far up and this far down. A tiny bit of pivot and some side-to-side movement. The cape definitely blocks off a whole lot of movement when it comes to her arms. She's really only able to get it this far up. She doesn't have full rotation. She's only able to rotate it up like this much. She does have upper bicep swivel and a double jointed elbow that's able to bend in this much, and your standard wrist hinge allowing her hands to move up, down, and all the way around. With her mid diaphragm joint, she's able to bend not a whole lot back and a tiny bit forward. She has pivot, side to side movement. She's able to kick her leg this far up, go out to the side that much, and go back a tiny bit. Upper thigh swivel, a double jointed knee that's able to bend back that much, and her foot is able to move this far down, this far up, and she has... Here she is next to Captain America and Iron Man, Spider-Man and Wolverine, Colossus and Storm, Nightcrawler and Baby Nightcrawler, VHS Cell Shaded and Walgreens exclusive Mystique, Jim Lee Rogue and Love Triangle 3-pack Magneto, Deadpool and Hydra Bob, Darwin and Morbius, Stan Lee and Squirrel Girl, and finally Jeff the Landshark and Spider Ham. Alright, time for my final rating and my overall thoughts. First with Rogue, I think I'm going to give her a 6 out of 10. Yeah, this figure is just a bit disappointing to say the least. I think the sculpt is really good looking. The articulation in the arms and the legs are great, but for the rest of it, you know, that torso and that head, oh my God, it's non-existent. And the lack of like some essential accessories that she should have come with in the first place, it just like knocks the figure down a few points for me. Yeah, I mean, it looks good, but it's not really that fun to pose. So yeah, 6 out of 10. And now for Destiny, I think I'm going to give Destiny a final rating of 6.5 out of 10. This figure is like decent from the outside, but like once you start moving it around and just like really picking at it, you start to encounter lots of issues. Of course, the articulation, oh my God, is it awful. That cape just hinders so much. It just really limits what you can do with this figure. As good as that masked head is, I definitely would have wanted an unmasked head to go along with this figure. Maybe some like, I don't know, some magic power effects too. Because as it stands, it's just pretty boring. And like, unfortunately, it's just not fun to pose around. But I do have to say, I think the sculpt is just a little bit better than Rogue. I do love that mid diaphragm joint as opposed to the lower one. It is what it is, 6.5 out of 10. But yeah, that'll do it for today's video. Comment down below what you thought about these figures. I would love to see your guys' opinions. And while you're at it, like and subscribe and share with a friend. Anything you can do that will support the channel will be greatly appreciated. And with that, I will see you in the next one. Bye. For what? The arms, again, VHS, cell shaded, and Walgreens exclusive.